So I would like to welcome you to the regular meeting of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission, Wednesday, December 15th at 5:30 p.m. So can we have a roll call, Jay?
Yes, Commissioner Lesniak, please.
Present.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Present.
Commissioner Newkirk.
Present.
Commissioner Favreau.
Here.
Vice Chair Pritchard.
Present.
Chair Merrigan.
Present.
We have quorum. Everyone is here.
Awesome. So can I ask if someone will make a motion to accept the agenda?
Madam Chair, if you will, we need to make one alteration to the agenda.
Okay.
Under item F, number 2, it's to approve $450 rather than $450,000 for the popsicle.
Oh, yes, yes, that
Ow.
that would make a nice payday.
Yes, but that's the only change. So I would make a motion to accept the agenda with that change.
Oh, it's just taking the last zero off because I think it was a period there, but
Well, the last 3 zeros.
okay, so do we have a second with that change?
Second.
All in favor of approving the agenda with the change to F2 that it states it's $450.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Awesome, thank you. So now is the time for public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Public Arts Commission on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission, and agenda items if the member of the public cannot be present later in the meeting at the time the item is heard by the commission. Additionally, members of the public may address the commission on each item listed on the posted agenda at the time each item is heard. Although the Public Arts Commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. But it doesn't seem, do we have any public comment, Jay?
We do not have any public speakers or public comment.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. So I wanted to give some shout outs and thank yous to people. So I really wanted to thank Christina for her short but participation in the Public Arts Commission. So I really appreciate her input, and she did a lot of work. So I really appreciate everything she did. I really hope that when she has an opening in her schedule with more bandwidth, that she will reapply for the Public Arts Commission. And I really hope that the city will really take that as an application with great interest, that we really hope she comes back to I really hope she comes back to the commission. So I really want to thank Christina very much for that. And then I want to thank Matthew for taking over Measure J. He and Christina were working on that, and he really has done yeoman's work shepherding the application and meeting with different parties and meeting with the artist, and really just doing a fantastic job on that. So I really thank you, Matthew. I really hope we get the grant. It would be fantastic. But even if we we'll say we're gonna get the grant, but the roadmap for this sculpture has really been laid out. So that's something that, hasn't been done over the past number of years. So it's just wonderful, wonderful work. So thank you so much. And then I also want to thank Russell and Gary for their work on the Tot sculpture, getting it up and ready to be installed. So that was a labor of love and a lot of teamwork with the city. So Stacy said thank you for all of the work, and they have been really great about working with us. So I hope that continues to happen that way. It's been really great. So I really want to thank you guys for that. And then I met with the city manager, Justin Clifton, last week. And so it was my first meeting with him. And it was wide ranging and it was a great meeting. And we definitely are going to continue talking about public art in the next months. And I asked him to come give us, he gave kind of like a pep talk to Parks and Recs when Gary and I were there at that meeting, or maybe it was another meeting I was at. And I thought his, he introduced himself and kind of talked about, how he views the city manager job and about, what's going on with the city. And I thought it was a really great talk he gave to them. So I asked him if he would do the same for us, hopefully in January. So, so that would be fantastic. But other than that, I think they seem to be very happy with the direction that we're heading in. The city is with the Public Arts Commission. So we've done like a lot of drudge work and, laying the future railway ties so far this year. And it's been fits and starts, but it actually is all going to be worth it in the end. I came from that meeting with him feeling that he really appreciated the work that we've been doing. He knows about the work that we've been doing, and he really appreciates our commissioner input on the way, ideas that we want to share on how to make our work with the commission easier and how to make it more fulfilling for the city. So all the work that we did on the ordinance, even though we're not seeing anything signed and sealed, that work will be really well worth it. That's what he told me. It will be really well worth it in the end. So we might not get everything that we want, but we've done a ton of the work, the legwork. So our new mid-year things will, I think, start to be easier. So on that note, I kind of asked, I've been trying to find out an update on when our changes would go to the city council. But they will not go to the city council probably until March. So because the city is kind of reorganizing a lot of how they work, and with their city staff and with the commissions, and all of that is kind of coming, that kind of work is starting to come to a close, and they want to kind of wrap up and have kind of their new systems up, around hopefully March or something like that. So they're going to kind of change some of the ways the commissions work, some of the ways, the city works with the councils, stuff like that. That matrix that we filled out, they're using those as input, and then the ordinance changes that we asked for are being used as input as well. So one of the, so I talked to him about the changes to the mural ordinance. Just jumping ahead quickly, if we, if it's worth still doing those for January, and he said, yes, it's really worth doing it. So, because they're gonna take all of that stuff that we give them and they're going to, use it in their like reorg work. So, but they're very far down that path, he told me. So he asked us to just kind of hang tight a little bit. Everything that we've been doing is going to be worth it. So in the spirit of that, I think I would like to either see if we can do it at our January meeting, or if we have a study session and all of us, a study session with just this on the agenda. And we just brainstorm about ideas that we would like to put forward as an agendized item. So to think about it this different way, instead of going down a path, finding an art, getting so far down a path that if the city council says no, we've already put a ton of work into something, that if in February we vote on a number of ideas that we then send to the city council, it will be at the same kind of time where they're contemplating these changes and how, what kind of things that they want the commissions to pursue. And we send like a packet of, I don't know, we can figure it out at our study session, of a number of ideas that we're interested in. And then we send them to council to review. And then they can give us our feedback and say, hey, this is the direction we want you to go in. This is not a direction we want you to go in. And then we have a path forward without the starting and stopping of, waiting for things to be approved and, put on additional agenda items, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm hoping that we can do that as just a study session, maybe like an hour and a half. We come up with these ideas, we kind of come to a consensus, and then we put them up on the agenda for February. Because our January meeting might already be kind of full. So I'm hoping you guys will be interested in that as a study session. And I think that could be really well received, and it would be a great way to jumpstart the year. So that is a little bit on that meeting. And then I had a meeting with now former Mayor Christy Holstich set up last Friday. And it's with the Filipino American group here in the desert. So I don't know if a couple months ago in October, the city has nominated, and it's throughout the country, that October is Filipino American Heritage Month. So we'll be in Palm Springs from now on. And as part of those conversations with the former mayor, they talked about wanting to do a mural of kind of a historical mural of the Filipino American community here in Palm Springs. So we had a first meeting about that on Friday, and it's a really exciting communitarian project. So, they're going to involve their entire community in ideas, brainstorming for the mural. And what I asked them to do, hopefully, we would sponsor the mural in some respects. So either pay their, which we have done in the past, pay their mural application fee, and then maybe help pay for their artist, or it's a nonprofit community group, so we definitely would have the funds to do that this year, and it would be an exciting addition to the community. So what I asked them to do is come to our January meeting. They're going to come do a presentation, and then we're going to use that as the first public outreach event for this mural. And then they're going to conduct a number of public outreach events for their community to give input on this mural with the artists that they would like to use. And so it's a community-focused piece of art of their history. And then they'll bring it, and we can participate in that. And then they'll kind of make their final decisions on it and bring it back to us. And so hopefully the mural, they're thinking, would be done kind of by the end of next summer. So that's kind of the idea for that. So that's something really exciting, and that will happen in January. And then I have someone reached out to us asking if they could do an internship with us. So I wanted to get your feedback on that. The email was a little bit old when I finally was able to get into this email box. So, but the gentleman has reached out saying he's really interested. So if we decide that's a route we want to take, let me know and we can set something up. And then I know, so I had asked to have Madalena's contract on the agenda to renew for 6 months. And we can ask Jay if he knows about this information yet. But the city was supposed to put out to bid a contract to hire a company to do like overall communications for the city. So they had originally said that we couldn't renew her contract, but they have not done this other contract as far as I know, and as far as Jay knew last week. Now this might have changed. So so we pulled it off the agenda because they asked I would pull it off the agenda because the council said they wouldn't renew it. But if we find out that the city still hasn't done a contract, I'd like to be able to bring it back in January in some form. So that's to let you know. So that happened, I don't know, in whenever that was, in May, April or May. But as far as I know, there is no contract for marketing communications, which would have included us, right? So that we would have been part of that plan. So that's the update on that. And then I'll give you a little more under maintenance, but I think that is, well, one more thing I guess I would tell you. It goes to this Filipino American mural project. One of the things I talked to the city manager about was doing outreach meeting / project talks within the community, meaning if they're going to redo Sunrise Park, that we do that not just Parks and Recs are involved, but Public Arts Commission is involved and the public is involved in submitting, helping, redesign, like make changes to that park, like putting our input into redesign, how we can incorporate public art into that, etc. And then also if something is more neighborhood focused or I don't know, downtown focus, like on our, the measure J, right? So we would also, do some public informational meetings, to involve the public in more in what we're doing than just, an item on an agenda, right? Like we would ask for, community input on projects, and he really believes in that. So that was right up his alley. So he would be really supportive of us kind of utilizing the public in that way, and the public or other experts, whatever, and also it also helps us, do our job. So that's one more update for you on that. So I guess we could just move to F1. So Russell, do you want to take it away?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So Jay has sent you a little bit of background on Tyson Knight and his work with us on all of the bench project, just for background information for the new commissioners. As I stated in the update, Tyson did the test pilot project and then managed and coordinated all of the other stages of the bench projects over the last couple of years with all of the artists, with paint selection, prepping the benches, sealing them. So as a very talented artist and expert at all of the benches, we've had him under contract since June to do monthly repair and maintenance of all of the benches. So on the screen now is an example of a before and after picture. So I should have sent you actually the current or the November issue or November invoice from Tyson, which gives you a breakdown of his fees. So for November, he did repairs of 13 hours of repair work performed on 7 benches, 1 utility box, and 1 large ashtray. So that's 13 hours of labor at $50 an hour for $650. Keeping in mind that when he does this work, he's doing all of the repainting, sanding, cleaning, sealing, graffiti removal, and touch-up of original art design with all of his own materials. So we're getting a very good deal with him, and it's very important that we keep our benches maintained. So the proposal is just to amend his contract, not to end on December 31st, 2021, but run through June 30th, 2022, and increase the amount by another $5,000.
So are there any questions or comments? No questions?
I have a question. What's the process? Does he just go around and look at the benches, or do people report in like, hey, somebody carved their name on a bench, and then how does he get activated?
Yeah, it's a combination of all of those through, because Tyson does sort of periodic checks on all the benches, as do I. But we also get notified by the public and also through Stacy and Heather from Downtown City Works. When they see a bench, they just notify us, and Tyson is out there in a heartbeat and repairs them.
Okay. I think it's great, and I think it's necessary. I was just curious of the protocol.
Any other questions, or can we just go to a vote?
Can I ask a question? So, in the summer, we had said that we would ask him to keep them clean as well. Is that something he's still doing, or is it something we should?
Yeah, that is something that he's doing, which is just sort of an add-on. He's not really billing us for that. But after the holidays, it's something I would like to readdress with the city and just figure out how they can adapt their staffing to actually do a very light power washing of the benches, so they would be clean. But as you see on this one, that's just up here now, he's taken away the graffiti and sort of restored the surface to the way it was when it was painted. So yeah, so it's a combination, he's cleaning and repairing the benches.
So, question for you. So the city thinks, now I've actually gotten 2 different stories actually. So I guess some people have complained that the benches are dirty, and that I was talking to Cindy about something else, And they think we should hire like a company to clean them. So it doesn't have to be in Tyson's wheelhouse. But then I talked to Stacy about it and she thinks there isn't a problem with it. So,
Well, yeah, I agree with you on that. Was speaking with Stacy and Heather, it's just a slight re-education or new education with the city workers and their power washers. Dial it back a few notches after you've done the sidewalk, do the bench with a very light power wash. I mean, problem solved.
yeah, I don't think they're going to because they don't have, unless they change their mind in January, because they don't have the staffing for it and they've been scared off of it. But I asked her for like a, to give a referral or something, but they didn't have anybody to refer, that's like a cleaner.
Well, see, that's one thing that, because I'm up very early and I go to the gym, so I'm driving through downtown between 5:30 and 6 a.m. I see the street cleaners cleaning the sidewalks. All they have to do is like dial their power washer back 2 notches and clean the bench. I mean, it's a simple procedure. So I think it's something we should sort of push back, that the city staff should be doing it. And that we
Yeah,
should-
not have it assume that we have Tyson do it.
Right, or hire yet somebody else who would pay money to clean the benches when it should be really, it's a city bench, city should be
Yeah,
cleaning.
yeah. I don't think we should have to rely on Tyson to do it. I don't think that is like fair in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'd like to add something to this discussion. Just for some information, I did speak with someone that power washes the development that I live in. And I had asked them if they were able to do, because they have a huge truck that goes around, somewhat like the city. And I asked them if they were able to do a light wash. And I mentioned the benches downtown, and they said, absolutely. We have a backpack that we carry, and that's for a light wash. So I have the name of the company. I was trying to look for it, but I can't find it right now. If that's something that we're willing to pursue, I can provide that name and information.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, we should pursue the city route / contract route.
All right, so for the moment then, should we do a motion to amend his contract? Are we ready for that?
I will do a motion to, to amend Tyson's contract to, that's what we're looking at your,
Shall I do it?
sorry, we were looking at your PDF there. Yeah, you can do it, or I'll do make a motion to amend Tyson's contract to change the termination date from December 31st to June 30th, 2022, and increase the contract by $5,000.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. How many is that?
That was everybody, I think.
6 of us.
Okay, great. So Russell, do you want to take over number 2?
Well, yes, what I would like to do is make a motion to approve the $450, which is a surprise fee that the city planning is insisting that we pay to extend our land use permit for popsicles, which we've already approved the $1,500 to extend it through the end of June 30th, 2022. So we just need to approve the additional $450 for the fee. So that's the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Could you repeat the date that it is complete or extended to?
No, oh yes, the popsicles we voted, we're extending it through the end of June 30th, 2022. That was voted on in our last meeting.
Okay.
And this is a fee that city planning said, no, we wouldn't waive. You have to pay this $450. So.
Any other discussion? Okay, I will second your motion, Russell. Any further discussion? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
I think that's everybody.
Madam Chair, I'm still waiting for Commissioner Favo's vote
Oh, okay,
on
sorry.
these items, but it passes with 5-0, 5-0-1, 5-1.
Sorry, I was on mute.
There you go. Is that a aye, Commissioner Favo?
Yes, it is.
And on the last item also?
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, updates and reports. So Gary, do you want to give us an update on Parks and Recs, and you and Russell on Tot?
Yeah, the big thing is the tot sculpture is being installed. And Russell can speak to that in more detail, but just so everyone knows, we've been in constant communication with the Parks Commission, and they're very thankful for the feedback and the information we're giving them. And we just got notification, Tracy, that one of the commissioners will be at the unveiling on Tuesday.
Awesome. Yay, thank you very much.
And Russell
Well,
can,
yeah, we definitely a huge thanks to Gary for stepping in and being the liaison with Rec and Park and the city on this to monitor getting the bike rack removed and the pad ready for the artist to do the installation, which is indeed going to happen on Monday, starting on around 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. And then the installation will be covered for the official unveiling, which is 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Tracy has helped with the press release, which will go out. I've already been in contact with Brian Blue Sky from the Desert Sun, Mark Talkington from Palm Springs Post, and waiting for callbacks from CBS and NBC for coverage on this. So it's very exciting that our new Todd is going to finally get installed.
Yay, so exciting. It's a little Christmas present.
I have a question.
Yes.
Tracy, you had mentioned before about a photo with all the group at a statue somewhere, and I'm hearing that there's an unveiling. So I don't know if that's an opportune moment or not.
Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody can make it, and then we can have Madalena take a photo of us. That would be
Mhm.
awesome.
What's the time and what's the date specifically?
Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., Tuesday the 21st. And hopefully we will also have representation from City Hall. It's been sent through their agenda, so hopefully we'll get someone.
Yeah, I asked, I said to them, well, Mayor Middleton, that would be great. And then I said, or the council person whose district it is in, or the council person who seems to work with Parks and Recs. So I think that's 3 different council members. So, so hopefully one person. Oh, we should also make sure we invite Jeannie from the library. I'll do that tomorrow or when we end tonight. So yeah, thank you, Russell. Thank you, Gary. It's really exciting to have the top. Matthew,
Okay,
you want to talk about Measure J?
Measure J, and I will also give you some updates as far as the fountain, things that I learned.
Oh, great.
First of all, the application was turned in. I was told at the time that we would hear sometime after mid-December. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I haven't heard anything so far. Throughout, I spoke with the artist on several occasions. I did propose alternative ideas. He was opposed. So I still pursued filling out the application form. And I did learn a lot about the fountain. it does recycle water. It initially pulls from the aquifer. That water goes up through the pipes to what he calls as the, and I'm forgetting certain terms, the things at top. It spills into the larger pool. That then goes into the aqueduct, which then goes into the sort of children's pool area. And then it refilters back and goes up the pipes and again is thrown back into the major pool area. Those are called wands, actually. So it does recycle. Initially, it's pulled from the aquifer, but it does recycle. He had said initially when he was designing the fountain, his term, he considered water wastage as a major part of the design and
Oh my
trying to
God.
prevent it. Was his term.
Wow.
He did say in the beginning that it was maintained for several years by a pool company and there were never any issues. And I won't go further with that. And moving on here, he did give an initial budget because he was calling up Parks and Rec and talking with Kenny. So he and Kenny worked out a budget. When I looked at the budget, there were some things that I thought were sort of lowball. And also too, in a lot of situations, installation or labor fees were not included. And that can be sometimes 2 to 3 times the actual cost of the item. In this case, pumps. So I consulted, I had like some pool companies show up. I consulted with them and a couple of times just to get their feedback and, some information from them. Once I completed all of that, I called Miss Tracy because I wanted to run it all by her before I turned it in. I wanted her information as to what she thought. And we talked about it. And so $95,000 was the low bid. This is a refurbishment. It's not a restoration. It would be a refurbishment. And there's a difference between the two. And I learned that a long time ago. Plus, the artist would have requested that it go back to a pool company. And also Stacy Schaefer, who's director of maintenance and facilities, sent a letter to us stating that she supported the grant and that it go to these are my terms, a private company to maintain. So with that said, we also put in the budget of $25,000 a year over a period of 5 years to have the maintenance covered by a pool company. So that came to $125,000. The total was about 100 or 200 some thousand. You all have it there because it was all forwarded to you. Again, I haven't heard anything, but that's it. If there are any questions, I'm willing to answer if I have the answers.
Gary has a question.
I have a couple questions, and this, I don't know if Matthew, you can even answer this. This is maybe more for Tracy and Jay. All the projects that there were requests went in are available on the Measure J website, so you can look at everything. And the city has classified all of them into different areas, and they classified our proposal into maintenance, but there were other proposals that they classified into public arts. So there is a COVID memorial that was classified as public arts. There is a hate crime memorial they classified in public arts. There is a maintenance one that is a public arts bike rack that's made out of the words Palm Springs. And I just wanted to get a sense in how is that working, because did those other commissions consult with anybody on our commission, or are they creating our workload for us by putting in these efforts asking for money that are going to be labor intensive for us?
Wow.
I was unaware of that.
And as I said, the fountain is classified as maintenance on the city, on Measure J and the city council's classification. And I agree with that. It is maintenance, so I get that. But there's, as I said, there's a COVID memorial. I think the Human Rights Commission put it in, and a hate crime memorial that I assume it was human rights. And then, as I said, a big bike rack made out of the words Palm Springs that they called public art. And those are there, and even the COVID memorial, they talked about how the Arts Commission would be part of the adjudication and the so there's a lot of work involved. And I just didn't know if there was any guidance for us. No?
I think that's a really great question. It's news to me. Is it news to you, Jay?
Well, I knew the Human Rights Commission was submitting. Wasn't sure procedure-wise how all that would come together. I was thinking maybe after a decision was made by Measure J committee, then work out the details. So, you know, I think we need to find out who's selected for funding first.
And you know, again, I'm not trying to be so precious that we are the only ones who decide what happens, but it seems to me that if we're trying to delineate what our division of real estate is supposed to be for projects in the coming year, and other commissioners are making them on our behalf.
Yeah, I'm really shocked, actually, seriously, that someone would do a grant proposal that has to do with us and not even communicate with us at all. And that does put work into our workload that we didn't even think of or not necessarily invested in. And it might detract from us being able to get a grant on something that we all came to a consensus about that we really wanted to do for the benefit of the entire city.
Yeah. Well, I do know that Measure J is reviewing them tomorrow on their meeting.
I would like to add something to this because everything that I've read refers to Rainmaker as public art.
Well, it's as I said, if you go to the Measure J agenda, it's a document created, I guess, by Measure J of the City of Palm Springs, and Rainmaker is classified as facilities maintenance.
Well, we aren't, it makes sense in the aspect that we're not, we were relieved of duty of paying for the maintenance of the sculpture.
Yeah, and it's just, I get that. I get Rainmaker as maintenance. So in that meta sense, then facilities should have put that through as a proposal. We shouldn't have used our opportunity for that one. It should have been taken by them and we could have done something better. I just put the link to all the documents in the chat if anybody wants to review it, and I can send it to everybody separately.
I would appreciate that if you would.
Yeah, because I do think it should have been classified as public art because it is a piece of public art.
But I want to say also too, I want to add to Gary's, at least I want to add to that concern that any of these projects that are listed as public art adds to our responsibility in the future financially.
Oh, well, no, I mean, obviously if their project gets approved, it will be funded, but it's, again, labor for us to take on that area of responsibility.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a piece of public art that we have to take care of.
Correct.
Like
And
it does come out of our budget eventually, right? Because it will be in the public art collection. I'm really shocked at this because we did all this work to like interface with Parks and Recs and to have other commissions do this without talking to us. And it's a piece of public art, even if they don't, you know, even if they were just throwing things at the wall. It looks like it's coming from us. So.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
A quick question on that. Do we know like how relevant those categories are? Because my worry would be that if the Measure J Commission is saying like, oh, some of this money should go to a public art piece, is the fountain going to be outside of that category because they're looking at the other three new projects, when we clearly have already said that our priority, our first choice would be the fountain.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
I don't know. And again, I do want to state that I don't think we should, as a commission, we should be working with other commissions. That's part of our goal. That's the city of Palm Springs. And I don't think we need to be so territorial. It just would have been nice to have been consulted before we're cited in coming, because these people are trying to do our job. They're saying, oh, we're going to do a big piece of public art, or we're going to do a memorial. Yeah, it's just a little funky.
Yeah, there's also the Illuminaire house on here, I see, 175,000 as public art.
Okay.
I mean, Jay, can you find out like if this, you know, how this classification system works?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just-
pretty
I'm
sure
just
it
really,
was Measure J and Measure J staff that did that. You know, I don't know that the other groups would have done that. I mean, and you know, there's dual or multiple purposes to the proposals. COVID victims, you know, if I believe that was one with, you know, has a recognition of humanity there, and the loss of humanity is also, say, a human rights issue. So it's sort of a shared issue here that comes up. But you know, your point about communication and you know, that's understood, but I think you all know you have so many meetings before the application was due. Everyone, all commissions having to have special meetings to discuss and decide. I don't know that there would have been enough time to have joint meetings amongst commissions to work out who's doing
or
what.
someone could have just sent an email. There's also another one on here that says seeking funds to print an art tour catalog and pay for expertise in logistics as the tour grows.
It's
Like there's a
open
lot of projects here that,
to
May I-
the
may I
entire
make a
community
suggestion?
can contribute to these.
So may I make a suggestion, being that the Measure J proposals are not under our jurisdiction at this very moment? Can we just move on to our agenda and deal with the Measure J when it gets decided?
wow. Well, yeah, Jay, if you could maybe update us, give us any more info, that would be great. Using this as a guide.
So I will try to find out where those classifications came from.
Yeah, because Measure J is like funded for, it's supposed to be like infrastructure, right? So it's to pay for infrastructure in the city. So is that correct? And is that how these categories come to play?
Possibly, but these community projects they seem to be sort of a different category. So it's kind of looking to the community to propose what seems like, you know, a lot of different things that are possible here. So.
Okay, yeah, if you can just like update us on these public arts ones, that would be helpful. How they get classified with the city, like if they're from the city or not. Or if they are going to end up having input with us. Because anything that's public art, we end up having to pay for in the long term. Is that all right? Could you do that?
Yes, I could do that, but I think the purpose of the funding is to pay for it. Are you referring to the maintenance of an
Maintenance.
art piece or something, or?
Yeah, long-term maintenance. Okay, do you have anything else, Matthew, on that?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. I want to end on a happy note on that because you did such an amazing job, and I'm sorry that just really slapped us in the face there. And not to say anything bad about any of these projects, they could be really good. It's just the communication is shocking. Shonda, do you have an update on Stop in the Name of Love?
No, not at this time. I'll update next month.
Okay. Maintenance. So there's a couple things on maintenance. I just wanted to point out to Jay, even though I have let other people know about them. So the totem pole, we've been getting complaints that the sprinklers are sprinkling it again. So I just want to make sure it's in the public realm that the totem pole over at Victoria Park is getting sprinkled. And I really think we should ask the city if they could remove it temporarily. If it's nothing we can make sure, if it's nothing that the sprinklers can be fixed now, because it really needs to be maintained and not have it deteriorate anymore. So I kind of wanted to make that a public request. And then the other is Russell. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
We'd have to look into the commission's policies on removal of public art. And I think that was something that was to be discussed as part of the ordinance changes. But it would at least have to be an agendized item, I would think.
Yeah, if we could.
Wouldn't it be easier to put in a request to Rec and Park that they adjust the sprinkler system?
Yeah, I've already talked to I've already put the request in. The thing is, we're just not going to be able to change the sprinklers at many places. So, so that is the request to check the sprinklers and make sure they're not sprinkling the totem. And then I just wonder if there's a way, maybe we'll put it on the agenda for January to move it temporarily, just so it doesn't get further, there isn't further deterioration.
Tracy, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Now that you've brought up the totem pole, is I think an ideal relocation site would be the interior of the library. It would be protected from water.
Yeah, I think that's great. I was thinking about the library today, like if it could go over there. That's so funny. We're thinking the same thing. Yeah, it should be inside, shouldn't be outside. And because it's just deteriorated so much from beetles. So I'll ask the librarian what she thinks of that, and maybe that becomes an agenda item in January, and it can be moved and like removed and conserved and then reinstalled. I had a long talk with Stacy about water and sprinklers and everything, and we can update that from the maintenance later, but there are some places like the statue in Ruth Hardy Park that they're going to fix, they can fix the irrigation on, but there are other places like the tennis player, the Farrell statue, where they just can't fix the sprinklers. So we just have to bite the bullet and deal with, you know, there are some workarounds, and then we will just have to move a few things. And then Russell pointed out the Christopher Myers taming horses flags are not doing well. So Jay, did they get back to you? Because it said in their contract that they had to be contacted before anything is done. To their
No,
staff.
no, I have not heard back from them. It's really hit and miss with that group.
Yeah, they're hard to, it took a really long time to get their contract back. So, okay, so we're pursuing that. And then we already talked about the bench cleaning. And then we do have our meeting tomorrow, so we'll give you an update in January and hopefully a lot of great stuff to vote on. Well, that's okay. So anyone else want to say anything about maintenance?
I do have a question. Can I ask?
Go for it. Yes, please.
And I'm not sure who to direct this toward, but we've already decided as a commission to remove the George Floyd mural and I think her name was Cindy, stated that there would be a place within the city that we could store it, but it's still up. And my understanding is if the commission puts something up, we're also responsible for taking it down. So I would like to know what the progress is on that.
All right, I will update you on that. We have an agreement with the property owner that when they're working on the building and they're prepared to take the panels down, they will advise us, and Cindy wishes that a city worker will go and pick them up and put them in the storage yard. So but the thing is, with work on any project, they thought it would happen in November. It'll probably happen in January or February.
Thank you.
Wow, that's so long. We thought it was going to be September. But that's how construction works. Any other comments on that? So then the next one, some of this stuff is no longer valid. So TOT is done. I emailed Cindy about the engineering report contract. Do you know anything else other than that, Jay? About the James O. Jesse
It was
engineering
approved,
contract?
but I haven't heard anything about the engineer getting started and doing any of the work.
Yeah, I have, I mean, she said the contracts just take a while. So yeah, the city council approved it. So we'll just keep on it about the contract. The ordinance changes, I kind of gave you that. The agenda was written before I had that meeting with the city manager. So I gave you an update on that. We just gave you an update on taming horses. And so are they going to replace Christina? Do you know, Jay? Are they going to wait or?
No, I haven't heard. All I've seen is that they agendized the removal and the council approved it. So it was more just an information item to the council. Actions for replacing her, I don't know what may have happened yet or how we've done that in the past. Usually we do fill those vacant positions like that. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I saw what it said on the agenda too. So, okay.
A
And
question
then-
with that, Jay. Do you know if they have already a list that they're pulling from, or is it something that they have to start from scratch to find another commissioner?
That's a great question. I don't know. There were other applicants, so I don't know, Commissioner Bevo, how they would approach that.
It is on the city website as an open position. So I think you can apply, actually. I
Okay.
saw it listed there, so.
Hmm.
Thank you, Jay. Any other?
Yeah, I have a question for Russell. Russell, with the assessment for the engineering to do the James O. Jesse assessment, has there been a follow-up to find out if they have started, or have they gotten the information that they were approved to start? You're on mute.
I'm sorry. We
No,
just
there's no
discussed the
contract yet.
contract is still within the city council or city getting it approved so that the engineer can start the work.
So from what I understand, you're saying that
City council has approved the funds, waiting for City Hall to complete the contract, to give it to the engineer to do the work.
okay, so does the engineer know that it's being approved, that that process has happened, or are they just waiting?
Yeah, I'm in contact with the engineer, and they have to wait for a contract, so. It's been approved, but there's no contract, so there isn't anything that they can do until there's a contract.
And city council said that they won't get that contract until next year, if did I hear
No,
that?
the city council approved it. I don't know when, maybe that was first week of December, or maybe at the end of November. But they approved the amount, so now there has to be a contract made.
So what would be appropriate timing for us to pursue this again with the city? Like, we want to give them enough time.
Yeah, I'm in touch with them, so I've been in touch with it, so it's moving, but.
It's
So
moving.
when do I ask you again? I don't want to keep on bothering anybody about this. I just want to know, like, do I bring this up in February? Do I bring this up in January? Like, when's a good time to check
Oh,
back?
yeah, bring it back in January. I'm sure we'll probably have something before then, but
I
yeah, I'm on it, so don't.
Yeah.
And we just went through that a couple minutes ago.
So can we get back to our agenda?
Yes.
Right.
So any other comments on any of these updates, reports? Okay, so number 4. So could we have a few people to volunteer to do mural ordinance changes? So maybe not just the ones that Russell and previous commissioners had come up with, but maybe just look at it and put in a few more ideas and bring them to the January meeting. Can you guys hear me?
Well, I can hear, yes, you're asking for 2 new commissioners to volunteer to start working on the mural ordinance and
Or
suggest.
2 commissioners, not necessarily new commissioners, but 2 commissioners. And if it's only 2, then it doesn't have to be a subcommittee.
Well, yeah, and we can't do more than 2 now, otherwise we'd be a quorum and have to be registered, and we couldn't do all of that before January 19th.
Yeah.
So if one other commissioner wants to sit down with me, I'm perfectly willing to be one of the 2 people.
Great.
Gary's volunteer.
Gary.
There, done. Okay,
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 great.
fine.
So is that you and Gary?
yep,
Okay, well, thank you so much. So that piggybacks on what I told you earlier. So we can vote on it, and then that will be our idea of what we want, and then that will be incorporated into their new working group,
Mhm.
work product. Okay, and then the last thing is are people interested in us having an intern?
Yes.
And maybe just have a consensus. Yeah, Gary had mentioned he'd like that earlier, a few months ago, so.
And I guess it would help, Tracy, if we could see the person's background.
Yeah, I didn't want to promise any, I didn't want to promise there would be until I asked you guys, if you wanted that as a group, and then I'll just email him, and then maybe we, reach out and see if there are a few other people we could reach out to the arts, the Palm Springs Public High School arts tract too, and
Local colleges.
oh yeah,
Excuse me,
or
may
COD.
I ask a specific question? Are we allowed to have an intern?
That's a very good question.
Okay, because we're all sworn in as commissioners. We have to uphold the rules of ethics. We have to have ethics training. So are we allowed to have an intern? I wouldn't think we would be able to be. So Jay?
I will have to check that out. That is a very good question.
Yeah, Christy has a fellow, which sounds to me like an intern, but yeah, so if we could find out, then
Yeah.
maybe we could ask a couple of people to help us out.
Yeah, because we could pursue that once we know if we're allowed to.
So if we are allowed to, what's the consensus of the group? If we would like to have an intern or so help us out.
I think it's a good idea. Gary, Tracy, did you have like an idea of what the intern would be responsible for, or was that up for discussion? Because is it going to be our intern, or is this like an intern that's working with the city staff and all of a sudden staff has a intern that they have to supervise? How do you see this working?
Well, as I said,
I would hope this would not add any work to Jay. So,
what popped into my head is I know we have a lot of legwork ahead of us in terms of cataloging work and the community grant projects and looking around, and the restoration that needs to be done with the art. And even if it's somebody that goes and documents everything, would be very helpful. And then maybe if this person, depending what their skills are, they could be doing social media things for us too. I'm not saying they're going to be strategizing, but they could be sitting in the meetings, and they could, it just be helpful to have an able body to run around, because I know a lot of you have daytime jobs and are doing things, and we have a burden of a lot of administrative stuff ahead of us, I think, in the next 6 months.
Yep, I would agree that's something worth pursuing if we're allowed to.
Yeah.
so it seems kind of like we have consensus. Shonda, do you have? I don't know.
My concern is just with the age and the expertise of the intern. I had a couple people reach out to me that they wanted to intern, but they're like retired docents from LACMA. So I don't know who your age range of interns are gonna be.
No, it would have to be I would think it would have to be a young person who's getting into a career in the arts.
We can't
We need
specify
some-
age, Tracy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if
We could say if it's somebody.
docents want to donate their time to be our intern, I don't think we should turn them down.
Yeah, I think if we're allowed, to Russell's point, if we specify that it's somebody who is currently in school to pursue public arts, or they need some sort of credit situation. As I said, we just have a lot of work ahead of us that needs to be done. And I just think an extra able body who's interested in running around and wants to learn is beneficial. Even if it's something like, documenting, getting a sheer documentation of every piece of public art. That's a lot of work.
Okay, so that would be great, Jay, if you could find out if we can have an intern.
I'll do that right away.
And I'm struggling with the name of the group over at the high school, but a couple of years ago, we actually, in one of my meetings with them about the class, we talked about maybe being able to have an intern in their program, because they have tons of students that are looking to further their arts education, and they have like an actual intern program. So that was Ellen Goodman who talked to me about that. So it could be something official like that, right? Like an actual intern program that already exists over at the high school. Okay, great. So Jay, do you have any reports?
No, you're all very thorough. Thank you.
And do we have any commissioner comments?
I have a question, and I'll make it brief because we're really running really well on time. I'm questioning, do the person who owns the pit, do we pay them individually for each art piece that's there, or do we pay them anything?
We don't pay them anything.
Okay.
But when you're looking at the temporary art, we should, like all of those kind of, letters that we got, giving us permission, maybe starting to expire or did expire. So we should look into that, like how long he wants to keep having our art there. But the mural, the Ryan Campbell mural, that was meant to be permanent. So that was designed to be where a staircase was supposed to go. So that was meant to be permanent, but the other pieces are temporary. And the graffiti park comes into that play as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Are we going to have a record time?
We are. I would like to make a motion to
Of
adjourn.
an
the
hour
meeting
and
now.
43 minutes?
Okay, I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Public Arts Commission to a regular meeting on January 19th, 2022, 5:30 via teleconference.
Oh, one more thing before you do. Does
That's
everybody, before I second your motion, I want to say thank you to everybody. And I hope you have an amazing holiday and have a great rest over the new year. And then would you guys be willing to have a study session in January to kind of put some things on the board for the city council? So kind of like a yay, like a
Yes.
hands up that,
And
and not hugely long. So would that be cool with Russell and Shonda?
Yes, for a 1-hour study session.
Yeah, like just get some ducks in there. Okay, great. So I will second your motion. And all those in favor?
Happy
Aye.
holidays. Happy New Year.
Aye. Happy
Happy
holidays, everybody. I hope you have a
Happy New Year,
lovely time with
Bye,
family
everyone.
and friends. Ciao.
Good to you all. Thanks, everyone.
bye.